What's up? What's up? Happy hump day. It's Wednesday. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the all girl show. Men are allowed. Don't feel like if you're a man, you have to exit the chat. Feel free to hang out. We're going to talk about whatever. We really have no plans. We're just going to just chit chat. So while people enter, please be sure to smash the thumbs up button on whoever channel you're watching. It really helps the YouTube world universe push this video out, let people know we're here, we're live, we're doing the thing. But why we wait for people to enter, let's go around at the panel and let's each ask the panel a question just to get the conversation started. So why don't we start with Nurse Kim?
I hope you guys are doing okay this evening.
You too.
And are more awake than I am. Okay, so my question was, I wanted to know what everyone is doing in their health journeys right now to make, the little tweaks that you make to improve things, and what are your results and whatnot.
Ooh, solid question. Cindy, why don't you lead us
All right. I'll do it. I'm doing it. Now, for September, I've lost 105 pounds since I started. And I've been maintaining that for about a year.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'd still like to lose about 20 more. So it's like, for September, I decided I was going to take 2 days every week and fast. And like the next 2 days, I'm fasting. So that's what I'm doing to try to jumpstart that again. I know it's going to be slow because of the amount I've already lost. So it's like, that's about what I'm doing.
Is that working
awesome
for you so far?
So far, so good. The first week I lost a couple pounds. Last week I went back up one, so that wasn't good. And I weigh in every Saturday. Because I have my sister and 3 nieces. We hold each other accountable. 3 nieces.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and then my husband, he's, he does keto, but he don't participate in our chat with the weigh-ins and stuff.
Yeah.
But his is more to maintain his type 1 diabetes more than weight loss.
So you fast for 2 days at a time?
About 64 hours total.
Oh my goodness. I don't think I could do that.
You said 64 hours?
Yes. Once you get past that initial hunger, it's really easy. And to get past that, just throw a little salt under your tongue and it takes the hunger away. It's really great.
So I'm fascinated by this. I'm sorry, I have a lot of questions.
That's okay.
So at what point do you feel like you get past the hunger in that? Like
it
how many hours?
It doesn't take me long. I keep drinking water for sure.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel like I need electrolytes, I'll drink some of those. When I used to fast, I never, throughout my whole 3 years almost, my 3-year ketoversary is coming up this week. I never gave up my Diet Pepsi. And my husband and I just decided this past week, we're not buying it anymore. So I haven't had any. So it's like, ooh.
That's hard.
It's okay. It is. I gave it up for 1 month when I did beef, butter, bacon, and eggs. August a year ago. And all sweeteners, everything, just strictly BBB and E. And that was hard. That was really hard for me because I missed a lot of things like cheese and definite keto chow. That's my thing. I love it. But, it worked though. So, whatever, I've been mostly ketovore. I started out very strict keto. And that's how I lost 100 pounds is on keto and sitting on my rear end. Now I'm out walking every day and we go to the gym a couple of days a week and I'm 65 years old. I feel good.
That's amazing. Awesome. Before we go to the next question, I have to recognize someone in the chat and we're going to have to get a song going. So Michelle, I gotta represent. Michelle is a loyal channel member. I appreciate you, and she's spending her birthday on YouTube. So let's.
I'm not a
What do you want?
singer. You do. You go right ahead. But I will
Okay,
tell her happy birthday.
Cindy's out. What do you? Kim and Sana, you in for a little singing? I'll go
Sure.
solo.
We'll do a trio.
We'll do a trio. All right, on a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday,
dear
birthday,
dear
dear
Michelle.
Michelle. Happy
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 birthday
birthday
to
to
birthday
you.
to
you.
you.
Good thing we're YouTubers and not singers.
And don't quit our day jobs.
That was like on a chorus for school when it was like this group
Yeah.
was singing this one and this was singing this.
And I was trying to go quick at the end because that's what I always do. I always go, happy birthday to you.
Oh, what's going on, Sean? That was beautiful, ladies.
Hey, Sean.
Hey, Sean.
What a time to come in.
That was probably perfect timing.
Okay, so Kim, what's your response to your own question?
To my own question. Well, I have for about a week now, I've given up dairy. I was supposed to do it on the 1st with you and Sana and whoever else. Was Cindy doing it? I don't remember.
No,
Oh, she
Okay.
won't give up her shit.
no.
Anyway, there was a bunch of people that were doing it. And yeah, I guess I just never really convinced myself in my mind that I wanted to do it, but I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And so then the day came around and I was like, I'm not doing it. You know, I was in a bad mood that day and I just didn't do it. And then the more I thought about it, I was almost jealous that everybody else was doing it. I wasn't doing it. I'm like, I want to do it now. I want to try it. So I've given up dairy as of about a week. And I have to say that most of my candida symptoms are just laying low now. So hopefully that was the golden ticket, but especially my sinuses where I would have post nasal drip constantly to where it would feel like I was drowning and just be completely miserable. It's gone. So I think we might be onto something, y'all.
Nice.
That's
So
my
is the weight loss kick back in gear since giving up dairy?
No, actually, but I don't think it has anything at all to do with dairy. Just for complete disclosure, back in July, I got back from vacation, and since then, I have gained 9 pounds. Now, I think that that's probably from eating ribeye every day. Other people say you can eat ribeye every day and they say eat until you're comfortably stuffed, but I don't think they realize how much food it takes for me to be comfortably stuffed. I don't know. I mean, and it could just be my body healing, but you know, I'm going to ride it out. I'm going to keep going with what I'm doing now. And see how I do. Since, let's see here, I probably gained about 5 pounds since I gave up dairy, but I don't think it's the dairy at all. Like, don't get that confused. It's not, I don't think it has anything at all to do with it. I think it's probably just where I was so metabolically unhealthy before that. And also I was taking metformin before. So this is a key piece of information here. I quit that around the same time I went on vacation. So I think my body's just like, whoa, what the heck's going on? And it's trying to play catch up now. And it's trying to just go by its own, devices to get everything in order. And it may take some time sometimes for some people.
Yeah, and like Sean said, he said he heard that a bunch about dairy and the sinus strip. Yeah, I had the sinus strip actually, and the excess phlegm build up, and I would constantly be clearing my throat. And Kim actually is the one who said, because it was around the time I was giving up dairy anyway, and it was Kim who actually said dairy might be the cause. because it just wouldn't go away. And I was like, this can't be sinuses because this has been like months. But yeah, ever since I gave up dairy, it's cleared. I have it a little bit now because I had I did have a little bit of dark chocolate after dinner, like a little square, and I know that can cause it too. But the actual buildup, yeah, I struggled with that, and that seemed to have cleared up for the most part. It's not
It's
all the
funny.
way, but it's cleared up a little bit.
It's funny, I could give you advice, but I couldn't, like, give myself my own
Yeah.
advice that I gave you, like, just sometimes when it's us, it's just different, you know? It's like we think we're special, like, "Oh, no, I'm sure it's not dairy with me. I couldn't possibly need to give up cheese
Yeah.
for the rest of my life."
Well, we have a question for Nurse Kim. Can you explain how you got off metformin? He's trying to wean off.
Okay, so with me and metformin, number one, I was not diabetic. So I was taking metformin for a different reason than most people get put on metformin. I was pre-diabetic, but the main reason that my functional medicine doctor put me on metformin was in hopes to, well, one, prevent diabetes, and then in the transition of me, well, in the interim where I was transitioning my diet to a more healthy way of eating. Nicole, you're making me dizzy with that.
What?
I don't know what you're doing, but like I'm like refocusing.
Highlighting the comments.
But anyway, in the transition period, she's like, we'll take metformin and it'll help you kind of boost your weight loss and kind of get your insulin sensitivity back. And I think it did do that. It had a lot of other side effects for me that I didn't really like. So, and then I just don't like the idea of being on medication. So, I just weaned myself off of it. And basically I just, like, every other day I would take it. And then, I mean, I was taking it twice a day, and then I went down to once a day. And then, like, I think I did every other day. But I mean, definitely ask your doctor to help you with that, because, you know, I'm not a very compliant patient. So.
That's typical for people in the medical field.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys have any questions, please do drop them in the chat. And like I said, you don't have to be a male to join the chat and to hang with us. But as Lamb says, if you're not comfortable, you are okay. It's okay to identify as a unicorn. If that will help you feel comfortable with this ladies chat. It's not really a ladies chat, but yeah. So we do have one final question for Kim. Kim, have you had your
I'm in today, y'all.
have you welcome, Nurse Kim. Have you had your hormone level tested? Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, it has been a long time. Like, it's been like a couple of years. I definitely have considered the possibility that I may be like a little bit menopausal. Did y'all hear that? Because I'm not saying it again. It's possible that I might be like heading into that period. I'm 48. I don't know. My mom didn't go through it till she was later in life. But I don't feel like that's the case. Like, I don't have hot flashes or anything like that. And I have had hot flashes in the past. And then I started eating low carb, and that resolved it. But I think those hot flashes were more like blood glucose type hot flashes rather than, you know, that time, the transition. But, I mean, I've considered it, but most doctors are very resistant to testing women's hormones for some weird reason. They'll say, oh, well, they fluctuate. They'll be, you know, it won't really tell us anything, just getting one snapshot of where you're at. I'm like, okay, well, what if we get another snapshot later, you know? But I'm not expert on women's hormones, so I have no idea how to get them to do what I want them to do. Other than maybe I could go back to my functional medicine doctor, and because she was really good.
Yeah, I've heard fat helps with menopausal symptoms, which makes sense because that helps with hormones. But yeah, I too am of the age, and I have not. I'm experiencing.
You're not of the age.
What's that?
You're a youngin'. You are so young.
It can happen in your early 40s. I'm approaching my mid 40s.
When did your mom or your female
But I'm
family
talking
members.
peri. I'm not talking like full blown. Like
Yeah.
there's
There's many years of
perimenopause
peri, I
for me.
hear.
There's it's leading up to it. This thing can last like 10 long years. I'm at the beginning where this is starting to be irregular. Like that's a
Yeah.
stage I'm at, not full blown
Well,
menopause. But
the difficult part is I have no way, like I have no gauge because I don't have a uterus. So there you go.
but
There you go, guys. No uterus over here.
like, can you have menopause without the uterus? I don't know.
Yeah, your hormones are from your ovaries, and I have one little ovary.
Oh, you do? Okay, I wasn't
Probably
sure.
hanging on for dear life.
Okay, I didn't know if you had any ovaries. Okay, but yeah, I should probably get my hormones checked. I've been thinking about that ever since I've been like super irregular, and I would like to get lab work anyway because I haven't had lab work since I transitioned in the beginning of the year. So I'm about due for lab work anyway. So I might just get a complete workup
Yeah.
and get that tested too out of curiosity. But Sana, where are you at with your goals, and have you made any nutrition adjustments to help you nudge your weight loss or whatever your goals are?
Oh gosh. Yes, I definitely made a lot of changes. So up until the first of this year, I hit 4 years keto. There was definitely something irritating me on keto. So January 1st of this year, I went carnivore. First started off with triple B and E, did it for 60 days, and I eliminated everything. Even seasonings initially. All I used was just some Redmond salt. Did not go in with any other seasonings until I did my reintroduction. So after that 60 days, I started introducing single ingredient seasonings. 4 months in, I did reintroduce some cheese, but just like you and Kim, I have cut out dairy for the month of September because certain cheeses do not have any taste to me anymore. Um, Sheep and goat milk cheeses, I can taste. Every other cheese I've experimented with so far, reintroduced, I cannot taste. Texture wise, I can definitely tell I'm having cheese, but the taste is definitely not there. So that's what I've been doing. I don't know what like my approach will be as of yet come October when it comes to cheeses. I can definitely say I do like to keep my scale, as I always tell people, in the deepest, darkest corner of my closet. I am not the type that will weigh in because that's one of just my personal journey goals was to kind of have a healthy relationship with the scale. But I did weigh in the beginning of this dairy-free September 1st, and I am down 109 pounds in total. I'll revisit to see where I'm at come the end of the dairy-free to see possibly, if the dairy-free made any differences at all. But I have not had any adverse side effects when I reintroduce the dairy other than not being able to taste certain cheeses, which kind of stinks because cheese could be a good thing. Sometimes it could be too much of a good thing, but you still want to be able to taste it for those, rare occasions you want to incorporate it. But that is kind of where I'm at, kind of like in a little bit of a nutshell.
Hey, quick question just to add on to what she just said. Have you guys noticed that since you went, well, I don't want to say carnivore because Nicole is not carnivore, but um, with being meat heavy, keto even, have you noticed that you don't really have a taste for things like you used to? Like my taste has totally changed. Like I wanted to start adding stuff back in, and my brain's just like, no, like get the hamburger. What are you talking about? I just wondered if you guys experienced that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not carnivore, but I will say
Okay.
just going keto changed my taste buds for the other stuff. As I was telling Sana, my husband and I went on vacation, and we were on our way home. We stopped at this hotel. Right next door was a Cracker Barrel, and their cornbread and their biscuits were to die for back in the day. Well, I got one of each. I tasted them, and they tasted like garbage. I'm like, I couldn't eat them. I could not eat them. I'm like, wow.
That's good and bad at the same
It
time.
is. It really is. And then the next day we were doing the last leg home, and I thought, all right, maybe Cracker Barrel really messed up their recipes. And we stopped at a Bob Evans, and we got the meats and the eggs for breakfast, and then we got the biscuits. And I tried one of those, and it was the same way. And I know they have good biscuits. It was awful. It was awful. I'm like, all right, this is telling me something. Stay the heck away from it all. But yeah, it's and there's times where I look at stuff and I go, nah, I don't want it, so I'm not hungry. You know, that's
Yeah.
what the one thing Dr. Barry will say too. If you open that refrigerator and you don't see some meat that you want, or if you don't want steak, you're not hungry.
Yeah. And
You know, and it's
I actually made a video about that in the very beginning. Like, if
mhm.
I don't want meat, I'm not hungry. Like, it's taught me my hunger cues, you know?
That definitely taste buds do change. It's wild. Nicole,
I wasn't sure if Sana was gonna say something because she unmuted. So so yeah, so I lost my taste. So I was, I guess, a sugar addict in recovery-ish. Um, but yeah, milk chocolate, I used to eat. I didn't have an off switch most of the times. And I tried, so I do have a little bit of dark chocolate, every once in a while. That's part of my minimal carbs. But yeah, I tried milk chocolate just because I didn't have dark chocolate on hand. And yeah, it just didn't taste good. Like I used to love milk chocolate and ice cream and all the junky, garbagey foods. Now I eat it and I was like, dang, I remember this tasting good. This tastes like garbage. It just tastes nasty. So yeah, my sweets, my taste for sweets have definitely kind of gone away. Now I just eat like crave and love the savory, but the old me was definitely a hardcore sweets person.
I'm still the sweets person, but my thing before keto was the dark chocolate. Now I've transferred over to the better, if there is such a thing, like the lilies or something like that, rather than going full out, because that would really ruin me.
Yeah.
I can't do that. Well, there's other reasons for that. I had gastric bypass in 2007. And as a result of that bypass, 2 years later, I was having hypoglycemic episodes if I ate anything carby. And when I figured it out, I researched it and I went to my doctor and I said, I think I have hyperinsulinemic hypoglycememia. And he had never heard of it. He's like, what? And he looked and I told him how I found it. And I found this blog of people that have had gastric bypass that have suffered so much because of it that some have lost their pancreas, some had brain damage. I mean, they had done a number on a lot of people. And he's like, so any subsequent times going to the doctor, he says, you helped me out a lot with some of my other patients. He said, because that is definitely a thing.
Yeah. I think there's more and more low carb doctors, which so I have a new client that just started with me. She's 72. I love working with the older population. But yeah, she's 72 and I gave her we call it a care plan. I just chatted with her yesterday. And as I was talking about her carb range and her protein range and all that stuff, her doctor gave her the same exact ranges as I did. I was like, "Wait, your doctor's low carb?" And she's like, "Yeah, as soon as we talked about XYZ, she immediately talked to me about lowering my carbs." I was like, "This is amazing." So this is like the second client I've worked with whose doctor isn't against low carb, and if they are against low carb, just call it Mediterranean and it'll be okay. But yeah, I was extremely shocked. But yeah, there's more and more doctors at least in this area promoting low carb. So I think it's slowly starting to catch on, and who knows, maybe in the next 10 years maybe it'll be more accepted. But I don't know, this is just making me hopeful. It just made me happy that she found a good doctor that listens. What's up, Sana? You unmuted.
Yes. So I was just going to answer my part, and some actually mentioned in the chat they've experienced the same with their taste buds, also with their skin and their nose. So all like full-on senses kind of changing other than the taste buds. But for spices, because even the few that I reintroduced for seasonings, they are a lot stronger than I remember them to be. So like garlic powder, onion powder, any season so far that I've introduced, it is very, very potent on my taste buds. I have not reintroduced anything else. I was never a sweets type of person, even like prior to keto, during keto, I was like a savory food kind of person. So I was the type that I loved like my grandmother's homemade baked bread and definitely slathered a lot of butter on it. So obviously we all know the butter was not the bad of that. But that's really the only difference that I noticed in my taste was pretty much just the seasonings being a lot stronger and not having to use as much to really get some flavor profile going.
Nice. Well, let's welcome some new people to the chat real quick, and we do have a question from Lambs. I wanna get to. So welcome, Lambs, the unicorn of the chat. Um, we got Uncle Big Guy is here. Welcome, welcome. Sean, the carnivore trucker. Welcome, welcome. Another channel member representing. If you're not a member, join. Susie, what's up, Susie? We got Ellie. See who else we got. Ground beef guy. Awesome, awesome. Well, welcome. Happy you're spending your Wednesday night with us. So Lambs asked a question. Have you noticed different protein to fat ratios needed compared to male carnivores? I know she doesn't like when I start with her, but Nurse Kim, what do you got, Nurse Kim? The star of the show.
So because I don't like you starting with me, you started with me. Thanks, Nicole. I appreciate that.
I love you.
Sure. So have I noticed different protein to fat ratios needed? So I am probably not the person to ask because I don't measure anything. I don't keep track of anything. I just eat fatty meat until I'm comfortably stuffed, as Dr. Berry says. And that's all I do. I mean, I've heard people say that women need more fat, but as of yet, I have not like purposely tried to do that. I've just done mainly what I thought was, 1-to-1 ratio, I guess, fat to protein. Just an eyeball kind of thing. I
Yeah.
don't know.
What do you say, Sana?
For me, I'm the same as Kim. I just eat until comfortably stuffed. But I can definitely tell you, like, whenever I had posted the meals or even when I recorded, like, my what I eat in the day, there were a lot of male carnivores that they would tell me, like, I am impressed of how much fatty meat that you're able to take down because they said that by far, like, it looks like I can like literally overeat them. Um, and I think it's like Kim said, I think, us women, because our body just is asking for it, we're able to kind of get a better protein to fat ratio in. But as far as anything like study wise or sciency, I just can speak personal experience. That's just what I've kind of noticed and what some have reported back to me as far as the males in the community.
Cindy, do you have a response? Don't
I
worry,
would
ladies, I'll
have
go.
I would have no way of comparing anything to a male carnivore because I don't personally know any. So I know I try to keep my protein and fat ratio about the same. Um, I just focus on getting enough protein in because after bypass surgery, even though it's been years, that's kind of hard to do. And I want to make sure if I don't do anything else, I get the protein in. I'm not really concerned about the amount of fat overall. And it seems to be working fine for me. So, yeah.
Okay, I'll go. I should have started with me and not Kim, but I know she likes it so much. And she's a star of the show today. Everyone's asking Kim questions. So, okay. So this is women, we're more hormonal, right? We have a lot more hormonal changes because we bear children, and because of that, we have estrogen, we have that time of the month, we have the lovely menopause and all this good stuff, and we also naturally carry more body fat than men because we're made to bear children. So we naturally carry more body fat than men. So women tend to need more. I don't know what the ratios are. The thing is 1 to 1, but it just depends on a lot of factors when it comes to protein. But for fat, women can benefit from more fat than men in general just because to maintain our hormonal balance and a healthy level of body fat. I'm not saying to be obese, but that's just how we're built biologically and physiologically. So we do tend to require more fat. When it comes to protein, I'm not going to get into the weeds with genetics and all that stuff, but I will say men have more muscle, right? More lean muscle. So men tend to need more protein than women do to maintain their muscle mass. So for instance, women can eat like 56 grams of carbs or 46 grams of carbs, and men 56 grams of carbs. So it's not a lot, it's not a huge difference, but men can benefit from eating more protein than women, and women can benefit from eating more fat than men. And I think Sean had a little bit to say as well, but that's basically without getting into the weeds. Just the super simple answer on that. But again, it depends on activity level and lifestyle as well. But just in general, just speaking in the general sense with all of that. And then Sean said the fat to protein ratio is based specifically on your own body's needs. It can't be compared to anyone. Correct. But in general, though, when it comes to, I'm not comparing one person to the next, but in general, men should be consuming more protein than women, and women should be a little bit more fat than men. But again, it just depends on your genetics, your lifestyle, your activity levels, and all that stuff. Does anyone else have anything to add to that before we move on
Well,
to?
I know I am well beyond that change because I went through that in my 30s when I had a complete hysterectomy. So
Yeah.
I don't need to deal with all that monthly stuff. So, what if I keep my fat and protein pretty even,
Yep.
it works. For some, it's not going to work. It's like Sean said, everybody is going to react differently
Yep.
to everything, regardless if you're male or female.
Yep.
So, yeah, so all the stuff y'all are talking about with menopause and all that, I've been there, done that.
Yeah,
It's
but
like,
as you
boom.
as you said, you're 65, right?
Yes.
So that's good. So like that's why I said it just depends because there's a number of factors. So Cindy at 65 needs to consume more protein than me at soon to be 43 because of things like sarcopenia and the lean muscle mass loss and all that stuff that happens as you age. So there's just a lot of factors that come into how much of what you should be consuming. There's a lot that goes into play. I just go off feel, but this is just a good example that Cindy at 65, because of the stage of life she's in, should be consuming more protein than the three of us here on that screen because she's of that age to where things start to progress and we're not quite at that progression stage yet. So
Hey, now I'm not progressing.
I'm just saying things are going to start to
We're
happen.
all progressing, Cindy. We're all progressing in a good
I'm
way.
way better than I was in my 30s.
Yeah. What's up? What's up, Becky? So Sana, what question do you have for the panel?
Well, I wanted to answer Susie because I know she had a question about curry. She had asked me about curry and what I thought
Oh,
about her introducing it. I am like such a huge advocate of what the berries promote, the N=1 experimenting. And just kind of like we covered on this topic, you got to see what is best for you. I would do a small amount, like don't go crazy with the curry spices. I would start off with like a small amount and see how you do. Um, because curry powder is one of those things that it will be high in oxalate. So if you have not really kind of introduced anything that would have been considered high oxalate, take it easy. Some options, and I can just kind of reference from if you're familiar with Nutrition with Judy. For curry powder, she does have bay leaf, cayenne, and mustard as a substitute for curry powder. So you can definitely grind. If you have like a coffee grinder, the bay leaf, cayenne, and mustard, and that should give you that same kind of flavor profile as curry powder if you wanted to try that first. But that is kind of like my say on that. But as far as a question for the panel, they are definitely putting me on the spot because I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning, people. So the fact that
welcome,
I'm
welcome
still
to the stream,
awake is
Sana.
shocking.
You can't just sit back and relax. You gotta participate.
Listen, I sleep so well, especially being on carnivore. Oh my goodness. I am like knocked out by like 9 o'clock.
Like Stewie? Do you look like Stewie?
No, I am
Mhm.
like eyes shut like Stewie, probably like my mouth open, little drool on the side.
You could make your question about sleep, Sana.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that your question?
Oh, there we go. Thanks for the help, ladies. You see, I knew I loved you all. But yeah, we can make it that. So this is an interesting topic because I know Cindy and I, we actually had a little discussion about like our um just comparing sleep pattern and stuff like that. But yeah, we can make that a question. So pre like whatever way of eating you guys are doing, you can kind of touch on pre carnivore, low carb, what your sleep was like, during low carb, keto, carnivore, what your sleep is.
It's a lot of moving
That way
parts,
we can,
Sana.
well,
I
like
love it. I
a
love it.
before and after. A before and
Yeah.
after. What's better than that? We need kind of some comparison.
So who are we starting with? Kinda lead this off. Who
Don't start with Kim. This is my question, and I'm not gonna have her big mad at me.
No, you go, you go.
I don't care.
You go, Sana.
I actually have an answer for this one, so I don't care either way.
Oh,
Say
okay.
Kim, go ahead.
Okay. So prior to carnivore, my entire life, I've been zombie-like in my sleep. And looking back, I think it was because I ate way too many carbs my entire life. And, carbs just kind of make you zombified. And they make it hard for me to wake up in the morning, all that jazz. So I could sleep anywhere, anytime. I was always sleepy, had excess of daytime sleepiness. I had sleep studies done. I didn't have anything wrong with me according to them. But I just was a sleepy person. When I went keto, it was like, wow, I can actually wake up in the morning and I'm not wanting to sleep for 12 hours at a time. So that was a real life changer for me. Now with carnivore, it's actually kind of interesting because it's been a bit of a mixed bag. And this is also why I've thought, maybe should I add a few carbs back in there? I don't know. But with carnivore, I will actually have trouble sleeping. And I'll lay there and I'm like, dang, this must be what people feel like when they talk about insomnia. Because, usually it doesn't take me more than 15 minutes to be completely asleep. And I'll lay there for an hour, 2 hours. One night I laid there till 2 a.m. And I'm like, this is nuts. I've got to be up at 5:30 to go to work. So, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, it feels like I don't need as much sleep on carnivore. So,
I
I
have a
don't know.
question for you, Kim.
Yes, ma'am.
A follow-on question. How late, because I know you work 12-hour shifts and, as a nurse saving the world, how far like how soon before going to bed do you typically eat?
I mean, on days I work 3 days a week, I have to eat about 8 o'clock because that's when I get home. I get home about 8 o'clock. So 8 or 8:30.
And then what time
And
do you go to
then
bed?
I usually go to bed about, I mean, realistically 11. I shoot for 9 to 10, but that like almost never
Yeah.
happens
So
just
that
because
might
I'm
be
a
why.
procrastinator.
Yeah. So that might be
But
why.
that's 3 days a week. I mean, 4 days a week, you know, do whatever.
And how do you
I'm
sleep
really
the
not a
other
very
days?
regimented person, though. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'm hungry. Let's eat something.
How do you sleep the other days that you're not working?
The same. It's pretty much the same.
And you eat around the same times? I'm just curious about meal timing.
Yeah. I might even go to bed later on those days, like maybe midnight,
Okay,
1
but still eating
sometimes.
about 8:30?
Yeah,
Okay.
7 to 8-ish.
This is Coach's Corner with Nicole. Welcome to the
I
show. I'm
listen,
just
I
kidding.
like that. I like that concept.
I know, so
But see, it bring like when people ask me questions about my like personal stuff that like I'll reveal anything in the world that I want to reveal. But then when people start asking me questions, I'm like, I get all defensive, like, okay, really? Do y'all want to know the real truth? What time is it right now? Because I haven't eaten.
Oh, I could say,
So
like,
yeah.
because I struggled with that too, with sleep. I feel like my sleep's getting better, because I eat OMAD now, so I eat probably between 2 and 4, my one and only meal of the day. So I mentioned
Mhm.
meal timing because if you're eating a butt ton, that's a new metric, a butt ton of fat, um, a few hours before bed, it does take the longest to digest, and when you're trying to sleep, your body naturally cools and prepares itself for rest, right? But when you're digesting food, your body naturally heats up. That's a thermic effect. Your body naturally heats up. So that causes a lot of sleep disruptions because your body's still processing and digesting all of that food that you just ate. And your body is conflicted because it's trying to prepare to sleep. It naturally cools, but it's heating up. And that could cause, it just causes uninterrupted sleep. It causes interrupted sleep because of that. So maybe mess with
Yeah.
your meal timing.
It's just, well, I mean, it's just that I ate the exact same schedule when I was eating a regular diet and it didn't bother me at all, you
But you're
know?
eating more fat and protein now. You're not
Yeah.
those foods have the highest thermic effect. They take the longest for our bodies to digest, where carbs are quick. Proteins and fats are not quick. Depending on how much you eat, it can take hours for it to work its way through your system. So
Yeah,
you're
that's
eating
true.
differently. You're eating differently now. You're eating a ton of fat and a ton of protein, whereas before you were eating more carbs. So because of that increase, it can take hours. It could take up to 6, 7, 8 hours, depending on how much you're eating for your body to fully digest, process, and break down that food and use it. So
So,
I would
what
try
time do you
messing with
think I
your meal
should eat
timing.
my last meal?
Well, I mean, that's different for everyone. So when I would eat at like 7 and try to go to bed at 10, I would not be able to fall asleep. And if I do, I would wake up like every couple hours. Now that I've switched my eating window, now I'm OMAD, not on purpose. That's just where I landed. But now that I'm OMAD and I eat so early in the day, I have an easier time falling asleep. And when I do fall asleep, I might wake up once to go to the bathroom, but I find I'm getting longer uninterrupted sleep by changing my eating window. So maybe just mess with your eating window. Maybe just push it back an hour or two and see if that helps. But I would just mess with your eating window
I
and see
mean,
if
that
that
would
works.
probably mean on the days I worked, I just wouldn't eat at night
When you
because
eat at, yeah, I know nurses is hard. My mom was my
I
worst
mean,
client.
it's hit or miss, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, you couldn't really be like, okay, guys, I know we got more patients coming out, but I'm
Mhm.
going to go eat dinner,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, that's something to mess with though. Like honestly, if anyone's having trouble sleeping, because I know there were a couple other comments in the chat about sleep, and getting bad sleep on carnivore. That would be the thing I would suggest. The easiest thing to do is just mess with the meal timing of your meals and maybe eat earlier, sooner in the day, and not as close to bed. Even if you're eating 3 hours before bed, maybe eat 5 hours before bed, because it's completely different eating this way than it is when you were
Mhm.
eating more carbs. So I would just mess with your eating window because I know PETA said I sleep badly, carnivore 10 months, blue blocker glasses at night, sleep say 2 hours, then wake, restless for hours, then sleep a bit more, not tired during the day. Any idea how to improve? Yeah, I had the same issue. Forgot to mention in bed by 9, dinner at 6. Yeah, so depending on if you're eating too mad or depending on how much you're eating,
Mm.
if you're in bed by 9 and you wanna be racked out by 9, maybe make your eating window 4 or 5, and just mess with your eating window because a lot of times, while protein doesn't affect your blood sugar as much as carbs, it does affect your blood sugar, but if your blood sugar drops too low in the middle of the night, because that's naturally what happens because you're not eating and drinking for 8, 9, 10 hours a night, your blood sugar can drop, but our bodies regulate as a safety and it helps. But sometimes people wake up because their blood sugar drops low and they think they wake up, they're like, oh, now I have to go to the bathroom. So I woke up to go to the bathroom. But another thing to look at is what's your blood sugar doing in the middle of the night as well, because that can wake you up in the middle of the night if it does drop a little bit too low. So that's just another thing to look at if you have a continuing glucose monitor to monitor your blood sugars in the middle of the night. If you are waking up constantly in the middle of the night, it could be your blood sugar, it could be your meal timing, it could be any number of things. But I know many people have glucose monitors now, so it might be an easy thing to track. Um,
Oh, I also want to add one thing to that.
yeah.
So I do this really weird thing now that I'm carnivore too. In the morning when I would wake up before, when I was just eating a crap diet, I would just like wake up and I'd be like, oh, just so like sluggish and zombified, But now when I wake up with carnivore, it's so weird. It almost feels like I have restless leg syndrome. I don't know what that feels like, but I would imagine this is what it feels like. Like my legs are just like, it's like I just have to move them in the bed. It's so weird. I don't know what that is about, but it's like I have so much energy or something. I don't know.
I do that too. I
Wow.
constantly shake my leg. I try not to do it on stream because I'll be like bouncing. But for me, I don't know if that's restless leg because it's not painful. I just do it instinctively. I think it's just like the
No,
pent
I
up
mean
energy.
it's not
Yeah.
actual restless leg. It's just like a weird thing that carnivore causes for me. But I mean it's not
Interesting.
bad. It just makes me like get up. You're getting up now, girl.
Yeah. What about you, Cindy? How's your sleep changed or stayed the same?
Well, pre-keto, I was such an insomniac. I was working and I'd go to sleep and fall, or go to work and fall asleep. So I went to my doctor and I said, told him, and he gave me something to help me sleep. Then I slept great, but then I didn't want to take it anymore, so I stopped. And I do take melatonin, and it helps you get relax. It doesn't help you go to sleep. Doesn't help. Certainly doesn't help you stay asleep. So my right now, I usually go to bed around midnight, and most of the time I can sleep till about 7:30. However, if I wake up, there is no going back to sleep for me because my husband snores like a banshee. And it's like I have gone in the other room and it doesn't matter. Our house is all one level. It's like, holy cow. So yeah, there's that. But
Um,
I never get really tired during the day unless I am awake at like 3 in the morning and not being able to go back to sleep. Like I've talked to Sana before. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go take a nap because I did not sleep well. But overall, I get pretty decent sleep. And when I wake up, I am up and ready to go. There's been mornings I've gone out and gone for my walk early. It's like, doesn't matter.
yeah, I'm the same. We did have a comment from Lambs that I did forget to mention, so I'm glad they mentioned this. It said my sleep hours also went down from 8 to 5 hours. My guess is I don't need as much. I feel great. So that's another thing I forgot to mention. So before low carb, I don't like labels. I'm animal based. I eat a lot of meat, but before this way of eating, I had sleep apnea because I was obese, so I had the CPAP machine, all that stuff. I slept like crap. I would get 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted sleep if I'm lucky, and then I wake up every 30 minutes to an hour until it was time to get up. But now I haven't been undiagnosed with sleep apnea. My husband just says I don't snore, so I don't even know where my machine is. So I just say I don't have it. Anecdotal. But the thing is when you are eating higher carbs, so when you sleep, that's where your body repairs itself. It's where you recover. It's rest and digest, right? Ultimately, that's why we sleep. It's where recovery happens, where repair happens. So when you're eating a higher carb diet, you're in a constant state of inflammation. So your body takes longer to recover and rest, digest, and repair. So when you're eating a higher fat, a higher, an animal based predominantly diet, then your body isn't under chronic inflammation or it's not as inflamed depending on where you are in your journey. So you don't need as much time to repair, recover, digest, rest, all that stuff because your body is more efficient at its processes, its bodily processes and functions. So I just wanted to touch on that since he brought that up, and that was a very good point. That might be the case too, but if you are getting less sleep and you feel the effects of less sleep, then I would look at your timing, your meal timing, your blood sugar levels, and all those other things. Make sure you're not watching TV before bed. You have the lights off. Like my lights are on right now, but that kind of affects your melatonin levels if the lights are on because your body doesn't know it's night. So all those things matter when you're trying to sleep. What do you got, Sana? You unmuted.
Yes, so just to kind of add my 2 cents in. So throughout my 4 years keto, I was very much an insomniac. I literally was watching like all like the rerun shows late at night, and it was definitely not the TV keeping me awake. I know some people would think that like, oh, turn off the TV and you'll be able to fall asleep. No, like I will literally just lay there in the dark for hours on end. It was not the TV keeping me awake. Um, so definitely the difference between keto and carnivore, I am able to fall asleep like in an instant ever since I went carnivore the first this year. And very much like Nicole said, that all of us will be different because some they do have to make sure they're eating, especially when you're consuming a lot of fatty meat. You definitely have to test for yourself, when you're going to kind of cut off that last meal. But I could literally make sure that I'm cutting off like my OMAD at least by 7, and I will fall asleep in like a blink of an eye 2 hours later. So I really don't necessarily need hours like 4 to 5 hours, like some may need. But, like Nicole said, we are all different. You kind of have to experiment for yourself. What is that kind of sweet spot of how many hours prior to sleep you need to kind of eat that meal? But no, I sleep, I can tell you anywhere from like 9 to 9:30. And I am literally asleep until my Fitbit watch starts buzzing off at 5 a.m. So I am asleep all night, not even waking up to use the restroom, nothing. I am out cold, out to the world, period.
5 a.m. Kim's 5:30. I was supposed to have an 8 a.m. meeting this morning, and I was like, "That's dumb. Who has 8 a.m. meetings? I'm not going."
Oh, I'm
So I
envious of your
slept.
sleep-ins.
It's too
My
early.
body won't let me. I wish it would.
I have a 9 a.m. meeting tomorrow that's like 40 minutes away. I was like, "That's even early." I don't even get out of bed until like 8 'cause I'm up until like midnight or whatever, but yeah, you ladies wake up early.
No,
That's like
that's just work days. That's 3 days a week. Other days, I mean, 10, 11, whatever.
yeah,
I just let myself wake up.
But
that's
I also
funny.
understand the flip side because some, have mentioned that they're able to get only a few hours of sleep and have like intense amount of energy because of this way of eating. So, that's true too. I mean, so it's going to definitely differ. We all are very different on our
Yeah.
journeys, even sleep included. So, we will definitely have our differences. So, I can definitely understand that perspective as well.
Yeah.
You guys
FO
dream more or less, by the way. I'm looking at somebody's question or somebody's statement
Mhm.
over in the chat. They were talking about dreaming. They said their sleep was
Oh,
better.
yeah.
Fr. Humphrey,
Oh.
deeper, more dreams. Mine's
Yeah.
deeper, but I used to dream all the time, and now I almost never dream.
Really?
Or if I do, I don't remember it.
Oh, what's up, FR Humphrey, by the way? Yeah, they say I took a dream class in school, high school maybe? I don't know, some school. And I was so fascinated by dreams because I'm fascinated by psychology and all that stuff too. And I remember this class had us keep a dream journal and we had to do a report on it, and I remember that they said that you only remember the last dream you had, but you only remember it for, like, the first few minutes you're awake, and then it starts slowly fading, so I remember that because everyone dreams, you just may not be able to, remember it because I had some wacky dreams last night. Oh, wacky dreams. But I know I dream because I remember, like, vague things, each night, but I do remember from that class that they say everyone dreams, it's just you may not be able to remember it depending on when your last dream was compared to when you woke up, and if you do remember it, a few minutes after you wake up, it starts to slowly fade, and that's why you only remember, like, bits and pieces of it, and then a certain amount of time after, you don't remember any of it. That's the only thing I remember from that class, but I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Kim?
I kind of associate the fact that I used to dream a lot and remember my dreams as maybe that was some disordered sleep. Maybe I was waking up when I didn't realize I was waking up, or, and then going back to sleep. I would do that a lot. I would wake up, I'd be having a dream, wake up, and then I'd go back right back to sleep and continue that dream. So it may have been just like some disordered sleep patterns that have gotten better. Um, like the other night, I remembered when I woke up, I was like, "Oh, I was having a dream." I remember that I was having a dream, but it just doesn't happen very often now that I'm carnivore.
Oh, well, I had wacky dreams last night, so I still I still dream. They were super weird. But what about you, Cindy? Do you dream?
I remember the same thing you were talking about, Nicole. Years ago, I was told that everybody has several dreams every night. It's just a matter of if you remember and what you remember. Now, I very rarely have any that I remember. But as a child, I remember having the same recurring dream of being chased. And it was so weird and so frightening that, I was like, I couldn't wait to wake up. But but now it's like, it's very, very rare that I remember having any at all. And I've also heard that if you ever dream that you died, you won't wake up.
Whoa, that don't okay. That's nope.
That's weird.
Well, in our dreams, we never get to the point where we die. Like, you could be
Right.
falling,
That's
right?
what
But
I'm
have you
saying.
ever actually hit the ground?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. If you ever dream that you died, you won't wake up.
Well, on that
That's
note,
so weird.
on that note of dying, Sean says he dreams when he's awake. So, like, you daydream,
He's
like, you're
daydreaming.
he's over there trying, like, to work, and he's just, like, daydreaming like Stewie back here. Do any of you daydream?
All
Sana,
the
do you
time.
daydream?
I kind of see that from the perspective because I just watching, Sean's lives and seeing, some of the stuff he posts, I kind of see that from just the motivational type of person
Oh,
that he
yeah.
is. So I definitely can see that as, dreaming up those goals and doing everything he can to accomplish every single one of those dreams.
Like, dreaming
Um,
up the inspiration?
Exactly. And then dreaming up whatever goals he has ahead for himself because, when we were at our heaviest, we basically had every kind of limitation, not because we wanted to have the limitation, but because we had really no choice at the time or because we made ourselves believe we didn't have a choice. So no, absolutely. I definitely see it from that perspective. But as far as for me, for dreaming, I definitely do get in deeper sleep. Like as I said before, like I do have a Fitbit watch, so I'm able to see all the kind of little sciencey stuff that it gives when it comes to sleep patterns. And I definitely get more like the REM sleep, the deep sleep. And like Nicole, I also went through like some sleep classes.
Yeah.
Part of like my psychology classes, they did have me go through like a lot of sleep classes. And yeah, that is truly in that stage where you will dream because the body is just so relaxed and at such like a peace that that's kind of when mentally all those dreams kind of happen. Um, but no, like, and it's interesting that Kim touched on that because since I've been carnivore, like I have not had any dreams, but then again, I definitely am having majority of my sleep that I'm getting be good deep sleep.
Yeah. Well, Sean says, "I don't wanna die all the time."
Right.
Oh, man. Um, well, I guess my question what is my question to everyone? Let's say outside of weight, what has been the best side effect of this way of eating? I'm not gonna start with Kim. Cindy.
No problem. I was on blood pressure medication for more than 50 years. I'm no longer on it. I was pre-diabetic. My A1C is 5.1. I'm able to get out and walk without any pain. I've had both knees replaced. I've had used to have back issues. I don't have it anymore. There's so much. There's just so much. So many benefits to this way of eating. It's just insane.
So before we get to sauna, I'm gonna say last day of normal, I keep dreaming I ate bread. I feel so guilty. And then Susie says, I had a recurring dream years ago and resolved it through lucid dream practice. Susie, what is lucid dream practice? Does anyone on the screen know what lucid dream practice is?
I have no idea.
Huh. Yeah, let us know, Sana. What's lucid dream practice? That's interesting. I'm very fascinated about dreams.
I'm
Um,
gonna look it up.
okay, so now we'll go to Kim while Sana's looking that up.
Yeah.
What is your best side effect since this way of eating?
Well, I have a list here.
I said best.
No, I'm just going to go over a few because I can't decide the best,
Okay.
okay? Um no more extreme fatigue, no more daily headaches. I used to take Tylenol every day, like just with my daily meds. Um, not as many meds. I used to have a big, those boxes you can get at the Dollar Tree. They're like blue and yellow, and that you can put like kids' toys and stuff in them, and they just go on a shelf. I had one of those completely full of medication bottles, and now I looked at it today, and it's just got a little layer on the bottom, and most of them are supplements. Um, the constant postnasal drip is gone. I don't have a lump in my throat constantly. I don't have GERD. I mean, I had such horrible GERD that it was awful. Constant coughing is gone. My ADHD symptoms are better. I don't have joint aches. Like literally every problem I had is resolved. And so I can't even complain about not much weight loss yet because all this other stuff. But I don't have the zombie feeling in the morning. My tendons in my hands used to hurt so bad that like I would try to write or something and they would feel like they were getting caught on each other. That's the only way I can explain it. And they just like had stabbing pains in them. I don't have that anymore. I used to raise my hands up to here and within, 30 seconds to a minute, they would be completely numb. and I don't have that anymore. I don't have sinus pain and pressure. I'm not constantly craving carbs. I'm not stopping at the donut store and sitting in my truck eating 6 donuts before I go home so that nobody sees how many I eat. I am not out of breath when I walk. I can actually walk with my friends and talk at the same time without being embarrassed. My overall mood's better. Memory problems are better. Let's see. I mean, I could just keep going. I had IBS type symptoms. My belly almost never hurts. Like if my belly hurts, I'm like, what? Why's my belly hurting? It's just so rare. And also one of the best is every night I would have to get up 3 or 4 times to go pee in the middle of the night. And now I don't at all. I mean, maybe once in a blue moon, I might do it once, but very, very rare. And the very, very top of the pyramid here is the candida symptoms are, I mean, all but gone. I mean, they're all but gone. I don't want to say gone just yet, but anyway.
Yeah, Sean said everyone should do what Kim did, practice what Kim did, took the time to make a list and reflect. That's amazing, Kim. Fantastic job. Yeah. I made a list on a Word document and I keep thinking of things to add to it for sure. But yeah, that's amazing. That's a lot, Kim. That's a lot. So yeah, the weight will come. All that.
Oh, and
other
I didn't read the whole list because I don't want to keep y'all on here all night.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That weight loss, like that'll come, but all that stuff, yeah, girl, you're good. You're good. Cindy, what about you?
You started with me.
I did. Sauna.
So I'm gonna get in real quick of what the lucid dreaming was first.
I haven't started to go back.
Oh, for the lucid dreaming?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to those.
Oh, okay.
I'm leading this stream, Sana. I'm the leader
I
of
had
this.
it pulled up here and I was shocked with what I read, so I got anxious with it because I never heard of that before. And
Okay,
it's something wild.
okay, go ahead, Sana. What's your best?
So, for me, oh my goodness, like where could I even begin? Because I've just had so much just go on like this past year because the beginning of this year, I had limited mobility to the point where my husband was video chatting with me to go shopping in the grocery store because I had heel spurs. And this is post 4 years keto. I had IBS issues. There was definitely something irritating me on keto that caused the IBS issues. I had hip pain, back pain, thigh pain, every kind of pain that you could think of. I also had a health scare in the month of May that had me like a week in the hospital. But all in all, even that hospital stay was definitely a non-scale victory because doing carnivore 3 weeks in, all my pain was gone. That hospital stay in May was because I went carnivore, because I took out everything that was causing complications with my body. And my body was able to reveal to me that I actually had white matter that had impacted the left side of my brain. And anyone that follows my channel would know that I dealt with deep, dark depression a few years back. And that's how severe my deep, dark depression was. According to the neurology team, they said that that is definitely what they see that caused cardiovascular issues that in return cause that white matter issue on my brain. So that was huge for me in terms of non-scale victories, because possibly if I did not go carnivore and knew that I needed to go through treatment and therapy for my brain, who knows if I would even be here today.
Damn, Sana, that's amazing. I should have let you go last. No, that's amazing though. I mean, honestly, just how powerful the diet is. And, our doctors, to no fault of their own, that's just how they're trained, just prescribe medicine without talking to anyone about diet or lifestyle. I say that because I'm 5 feet and I was about 200 plus pounds at my heaviest. I was obese. I had sleep apnea because of my weight. I had high blood pressure. The doctors wanted to put me on meds. I said no. I had anxiety, depression, chronic inflammation, all sorts of issues. And when I was prescribed the CPAP machine, when I was diagnosed with high blood pressure and who knows what else, um, it no one ever talked to me about losing weight or changing my lifestyle or changing my diet or anything. They just wrote me a script for blood pressure meds I never filled and sent me home with the machine. Um, so that was kind of defeating. But yeah, so before I switched to low carb, I just call myself low carb, but I'm less than 20 grams of carbs. But before switching to low carb, I did lose about 50 pounds. And that was through restriction and excessive workout. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks so much, Sean. Thanks so much, Sean. But outside of weight, I've lost a total of about 70 pounds. So I have about 15 more to go to drop all of the weight. So I'm pretty close. I'm back to losing again. Um, Outside of my weight, I have had 2 knee surgeries, reconstructive on my right knee. My knee was so bad, the Air Force tried to medically discharge me. I fought it, but, the doctor said I would need a replacement when I get older. I was close on needing a partial when I had the first surgery. They were able to save my kneecap. But they said I would never be fully mobile. I would eventually need a replacement. I would get stiff by sitting, standing. I have arthritis, bursitis, and tendonitis, all the itises in my one knee, and it'll be very uncomfortable. I can go up and down the stairs now. I can sit here and talk to you all without my knee bothering me at all. I can stand and walk for long periods of time without stiffness or discomfort. I used to have to go down the stairs sideways so it didn't put pressure on the front of my knee. I don't have to do that anymore. And then my depression and anxiety, I had to give it was about 45 days switching my way of eating. I had to give my talk, public speaking, in front of my largest audience, about 50, 60 business owners. I would usually have rapid heartbeat, sweating, just trying not to pass the heck out. Uh, I had no response whatsoever given this talk. I didn't even have a bead of sweat. I didn't even think about it. I was cool, calm, and collected. I've never experienced that level of confidence, mental clarity in my entire life. I struggled with this my entire life. Like, just me as a business owner, just functioning, I'm able to just perform on a higher level because I no longer have stage fright. I no longer fear public speaking. I no longer have anxiety in those situations. My anxiety would be crippling at times. It would lead to depression where I would literally just not do anything for days at a time. There was a point at my lowest point before switching to low carb, I almost quit my business and I did nothing for 2 weeks. I did nothing. I literally just shut down. I did nothing. It got bad and that was my rock bottom. And I don't experience that anymore. Hopefully I never experience it again, but so far this year I've never experienced even a droplet of anxiety or that level of depression. So that's my short list of non-scale victories. Let's see. So Sean took off. So let me go back to the start things of dreams. Okay, so lucid dreams. Lucid dream was practice. That's when you intentionally try to wake up when you dream. You become conscious and realize you're dreaming. So you force yourself to wake. So Sana, what did you want to? And then Fr. Humphrey said, lucid dreaming is being aware when you are dreaming and the ability to be in the dream and to change it. That's interesting. So Sana,
So
what
I've
did
definitely done that before, but I wasn't aware I could change it. I was just like, I'm dreaming right now. I've done it
So what
twice.
did you do,
Really?
Kim?
I was just like, I'm dreaming right now. I need to wake up because this is some BS right now.
Really?
Because it was
Oh,
like some stuff that was
wow.
happening, and I said, "This is not real. This is not real. I'm dreaming right now."
I've never
And
tried to wake myself up. How do you do that?
I didn't even know how to try. I was just like, gosh, this is just a dream. It was really weird. I guess it's
Oh,
like that in
wow.
between, when you're kind of starting to wake up, maybe. I don't know. I've had it happen twice ever.
Interesting. Sana, what about you?
Yeah. One of you definitely needs to do a content video on this because there's a whole history behind this.
Who's one of you? Wow, you. I don't know anything about this. You were about to take over our stream to talk about
No, this is, and it's very much like they're saying in the chat, and I've never heard of this before, but apparently it's like a practice that you do to make yourself conscious during a dream. And it
Oh,
happens within the REM sleep stage. I'm trying to kind of just jump around so this doesn't kind of take forever because there's so much information on this.
See, I
But
don't
you're
know how you would make
aware,
yourself do that. Like,
but
yeah.
it says like you during this lucid dream, you are aware of your consciousness. Um, it's a form of metacognition or awareness of your awareness.
Huh.
Uh, and it lets you control what happens in your dream, but this is
hmm,
going back to like over 20 years ago.
like when Freddy Krueger was around.
No, 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 no. He gave me nightmares for years. Do not
That's
mention
what
his
this
name.
reminds me
Do not.
of. And me and my best friend, we would like lay in bed and put our heads
Oh
together, and
no,
we're
there
like,
goes
we're gonna
Nicole.
drink. She went vegan. Bye, Nicole.
Stop.
It was nice
Freddy
knowing you.
Krueger gave me nightmares for years. Do not mention Freddy Krueger. If I have nightmares, I'm calling the heck out of your phone. I am stalking you tonight.
Sorry, but 1, 2.
So I guess she does not want to know that it was a psychophysiologist. That
So
was the one that pioneered this.
oh, no, so, like, I have changed my dream. Like, if I would be chased, my dream would be, like, similar to Cindy, I'd be chased, right? And I'd change and maneuver. I'm like, "I'm gonna hide in the ceiling tile. I'm gonna do this." Like, I
Mhm.
control my dream, but I've never tried to wake up from the dream.
Yeah, because it says you are conscious during this, so that's really interesting.
Maybe you can do a video on this, Sana. You could do a dream video.
I've never had experience with this before.
Me neither.
Well, I
Susie!
mean, I have, but I didn't know I could control
Susie,
anything.
we need to get you on. We need to get you on stream.
Yeah, because that, yeah, because for over 20 years, this supposedly has been around. I never heard of it before.
That's crazy.
So really interesting.
Well, PETA said, has a question. Getting back to the sleep thing, if my blood sugar is low, what do you recommend I do eat for that? If you have do you have a continuing glucose monitor? I would use that. Um, but that would depend on what you're eating, making sure you're eating enough, making sure you're eating a 1-to-1 ratio as close as possible between protein and fat. I don't know if you're zero carb or not. But yeah, I would wear a continuous glucose monitor. Most people have those now. And see where you are. I'm not saying that is the culprit, but that could be the culprit. Just as long as you're eating enough food, you should not have that problem. That problem will come into play if you are not consuming enough food. That could potentially be a problem. But Nurse Kim, Sana, or Cindy, who wants to take a stab at this? No, Kim say no. Cindy or Sana, do you want to
With the
take a
blood
stab?
sugar thing, I
Yeah.
would have to question, are they diabetic? With my husband being a type 1, he's on an insulin pump and a Dexcom 6. And when his sugars go low, man, bells and whistles are going off all night long. But for him, if he has a low blood sugar, he has the sugar pills. The what are they called? Anyway, they're glucose tablets. And he'll chew up one of those to get it back to an even level, or to whatever it takes, rather than eating something with sugar in it to bring it up. He real junk food. I mean, that's what those glucose tablets are for, is to help bring your blood sugar back to normal. But
Let's see if he responded. I
with
don't
that,
think he's
So,
diabetic. He's mentioning that because I mentioned that as one of the ways that people don't often think of why they wake up in the middle of the night is
Right,
just blood
right. I
sugar
get it.
regulation.
But it's
So I
like,
was typing. I do have an answer, but I'll wait my turn. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Kim.
No,
go
Cindy
ahead,
was
Kim.
still.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. So that was the first question I would ask. Are they diabetic?
You
Because
said
that
no,
makes a 100%
not
different.
diabetic.
And how low are we talking? Because if you're not diabetic, your body has a mechanism of regulating your blood sugar, no matter if you eat any carbs or not.
Yeah, so he wasn't saying it happens. He was referring to when I said some people a cause for people to wake up in the middle of the night. If you ever experience waking up in the middle of the night and you're like, I'm up, I have to pee, and you think that's why you woke up, sometimes your body does regulate blood sugar, like I mentioned earlier, but sometimes depending on what you're eating, it can still drop a little bit too low for the person, and that could be what's causing them to wake up. I'm not saying that is, but I'm just saying that's something that people don't often think about, especially on this diet. If you're eating too much fat and not enough protein for the gluconeogenesis, and you're not converting enough, while fat and protein does raise your blood sugar a little bit. Obviously, carbs raise it a lot. There's a difference in rising and falling. You do want it to rise, and you do want some insulin response. You don't want your insulin to be dormant, but you do want to make sure that you are eating enough. But yeah, I don't think he was saying he has a problem. I think he was just going back to what I said earlier.
I don't think that anybody that doesn't have diabetes, I've never seen it anyway, anybody that doesn't have diabetes to have a hypoglycemic episode where it will cause them any problems during the night.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
some will drop low. It just, your body just takes care of it.
Yeah. All right. FR Humphrey question. How do you know when to consult with your doctor about reducing meds? Nurse Kim.
I don't consult with my doctor. I'm not a good person to ask.
I don't either.
What I do is I just decrease it based on the knowledge that I have on how meds are decreased, and how they're weaned off. And so, yeah, I'm not a good person to ask on that, but I would definitely recommend that if you don't give those medications on a regular basis and you don't know how they act on different people and at different dosages, that you would definitely consult your doctor and just say, hey, I'm interested in getting off of this med, and what would you recommend? And they can usually even print off a like a scheduled kind of thing, like, go down to this dose, and if you're at this dose, go down to this dose, and if you're twice a day, then do this. And my functional medicine doctor printed me off something like that to help me get off of what was it? Oh, I know, the big one for me was I used to take 40 of either Prilosec or Nexium, or whichever one I was hip on that particular month. I'd take 40 twice a day, which is a big dose. Like, I pretty much did that to myself. And so I used her little schedule on that to decrease and wean off of that. But yeah, I would definitely consult your doctor, especially if it's something that you really need. Like, I didn't really need metformin. I didn't really need Prilosec as long as I was eating properly. I didn't really need ADHD medicine. As a matter of fact, it probably did more damage. I don't want to say damage. It made me feel worse than it helped. Put it that way. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that would be the last question. We're pushing an hour and a half, and I know I have an early morning tomorrow. I know Sana does. So, for me, I never went on blood pressure meds, so I always denied meds. But I will say, if you think you're to the point that you want to start weaning off, your doctor works for you. You don't work for your doctor. So if you want to wean off, and your doctor says no, you can find another doctor or get their opinion on how to approach weaning off, but that's just something to keep in mind. That's just my philosophy and how I see it is your doctor works for you and you are in control of your health and you are in control of what you do when it comes to your health. And your doctor, if your doctor is good and you have a good relationship with your doctor should support your decision. So if you think you're to the point that you can wean off, then your doctor should support that and provide guidance and some feedback on how to go about doing that. But just make sure you go into it just realizing that your doctor works for you, and if you don't agree with what they say, then you can always find another doctor or another opinion. But Sana and Cindy, do you have anything to add to that?
Just a small something. I would definitely say let the lab work speak for itself. Because definitely, if you have a doctor that can read the lab work correctly, especially when it comes to the cholesterol levels, because a lot of them they don't necessarily understand, the simple fact that there are your good fats and your bad fats. And they automatically assume with those cholesterol readings that you're consuming the bad fats. So that's why certain levels are high. That is not necessarily the case. So I would definitely say once you're having the lab work done, definitely know yourself what you're kind of looking at. You don't have to be any sort of an expert, but kind of educate yourself. There are so many videos out there, especially when it comes to Dr. Barry. You can simply keyword put in Dr. Barry LDL cholesterol, and he'll have information about it, HDL cholesterol. Educate yourself. If you feel like your doctor is not being fair with whatever blood work results you're showing them or results they're getting from you, definitely, like Nicole said, shop around. Don't feel like you have to stay just with that one doctor because that doctor, a lot of times, they are not a volunteer. You are paying them, their insurance is paying them. Feel, every right to get that second opinion.
I do want to say, hey, Jerry, thank you so much for the super chat.
That's awesome. What a way to
Thank you.
end.
It's good to see you
So
out and about
cool.
again.
Yay.
Hey, Nicole. Hey, ladies. Um, Question for Nicole. Were you surprised that, oh my gosh, went back to Optavia? She said it was for her wedding. I was, Jerry, let me know your thoughts before we end this stream. I'm so tempted to do a reaction video, but I feel bad because we collabed and I had her on my channel and we were friends. We were Jersey friends, but now she went Optavia again. And yeah, I was highly disappointed. And she even said in that video that she knows she's going to feel like crap and she knows it's not good, but she's doing it anyway for the quick weight loss. So I'm disappointed, but it would make a good video at the same time. I just feel so badly for her. But
What is
thank you.
Octavia?
Optavia is it's a very low calorie diet. You're eating like 800 to 1,000 at most calories with all their fuelings and their 5-in-1 plan, and you get one meal that they call lean and green that you can make your own. The rest of them are like literally 100 calorie packaged foods. It's absolutely terrible. I've had clients come to me doing that diet for 3 months and their hair would be falling out in clumps in the shower because they were so malnourished. So it's like one of the worst ones. There's a lot of bad ones out there. That's one of the worst ones I've seen. It's not the worst, but it's up there with the worst ones I've seen. It's terrible.
Oh, it sounds like Advocare. I was sucked into the Advocare thing. Yeah, it
What's
was.
that?
It was basically a bunch of supplements and like shakes and they had this one thing called Spark. And then they had a diet plan that you followed too, which it was mainly the diet plan that helped you lose the weight. But they had this drink called Spark, and I loved that stuff. Like it felt like the first time I ever took it or drank it, I called the girl that was my, upper level or whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like I'm on crack. Like, I love this stuff. I mean, I felt I had so much energy. So sometimes I'll still order a little Spark here and there.
I've heard of Spark. Okay. I've heard of
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was, I think they I think they went out of business. It, just one of those MLMs.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. Like Jerry mentioned, Plexus. Yeah, and there's
Mhm.
there's a ton out there, but Optavia is just for me, it's one of the worst ones, just because
Yeah.
I've had clients on that, and it was just not it was not a good mess for me to have to clean up because it was terrible. Um, but we have been at this for an hour and a half. I know some people just got to the chat. I'm so sorry that we are going to have to say goodnight, but definitely catch the replay. And I appreciate everyone for hanging out with us on your Wednesday night. It definitely means a lot. I appreciate you all. Any final words, super quick, please, super quick, going around the horn that we want to say before we end the stream? Sana?
Oh, she's gonna start with me. So just as Nicole said, thank you so much everyone for being here, because most definitely it is a weekday and you guys can kind of be doing anything after your busy, busy day. So I just want to thank everyone for being here. Just kind of like a small little plug. Cindy and I, we do Friday night lives, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 5:30 Central Standard Time, and we will be having Amber and Dan Carnivore Life this Friday. So excited for it.
Awesome,
Yes, that'll be
awesome.
fun.
What about you, Cindy? Any final
Yeah,
words?
just reiterate that. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And thanks, Nicole, for having me on, and Kim and Sana. We'll see you on Friday.
Yes, this was really great. Yeah, thanks
Yes.
everybody.
Nurse Kim, the star of the show.
Oh, you're so funny. I hate when people say things like that. It makes me feel weird.
The not star of the show. The
Okay,
black sheep of the show.
I'm the biggest loser on this show. No, anyway, so I just wanted to thank everybody for coming, and please go and subscribe to everybody's channels if you haven't already. And I would love to have you over on my channel. I try to reply to all my comments. It's not a big channel, but it's working really hard. So I'm trying to do more and more. And I would just love to have you if you're interested. So that's all.
Yay. And Optavia, I think, was the old. I think MetaFast turned into Optavia. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and just like everyone else said, you guys could have been doing anything with your Wednesday night or morning, depending on where you are in the world, and you decided to spend it with us. So, super grateful. Please do be sure to drop this stream a thumbs up, and if you like what you hear and you relate to any of us, please feel free to drop us a sub. We greatly appreciate it. Other than that, have a happy and healthy day or night, and we will see you on the next one. See you later, everyone.
All right.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.